All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another Green Square Talks Battlebots prediction podcast. So I am here with the episode 5 predictions. So I present to you the fifth fight card right up on the screen right here. We got lots of good matchups, 6 matchups featuring returning robots, and our first battle featuring alternates this time around. So I think there were like 5 alternates, I want to say, something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't fully remember the exact number, but yeah, there were a certain number of alternates who didn't make the top 50 robots, but were able to still get a few fights in at least, and we get to see the first one of those matchups here tonight. So, yeah, and so basically the process of this thing is the same as before. Basically, I'm going to discuss each one of these 7 fights one by one, share my prediction and some of my opinions. So, yeah, if you like what you see, like and subscribe as usual, and comment down below your predictions. I always love hearing what all of you come up with, at least, and how you think the fights are going to go. Like several of these fights really could go either way, and it's really fun seeing what everyone else has in mind for what they think the outcomes are going to be like. So, alrighty then, let's talk about the first fight. We got Minotaur and free shipping. So we got the return of Minotaur after a very dominant victory over the defending champion of Tantrum for their first fight. And then free shipping managed to show off that new vertical spinner weapon and managed to get a win against Gigabyte pretty early on. So yeah. So as for this one, like I gotta give the edge to Minotaur, not just because it's like my favorite robot, but I kind of trust the power of Minotaur a little bit more right now because like I need to see another fight from free shipping right now to see whether free shipping is like the real deal or not. But if they manage to take out Minotaur here, they are definitely proving themselves as big deal and possibly could go on a serious run this season. So I'm kind of expecting a good fight here because we got 2 excellent drivers between Daniel Freitas and Gary Jin, and two pretty damaging weapons at least. But I Minotaur I think definitely has the edge and the ability to do damage between these 2 robots. But I think free shipping might have the control aspect at least. But what I kind of worry about this one is I think free shipping's probably gonna if free shipping's gonna win this fight, they probably need to win it quickly. Because how I picture this fight going down is free shipping probably has the start. I'm predicting free shipping is the start of this fight, but I think eventually the damage is going to start really stacking up on free shipping. But yeah, free shipping is going to need to make the most out of this and probably going to need to drive it perfectly. Because I imagine if Minotaur starts making contact with that drum spinner, they're probably going to go right through whatever armor it is free shipping has. But then, of course, if free shipping's weapon is about as damaging as it seems, which I'm not confident about that yet, but this fight will prove whether that's the case or not. Free shipping could also cause quite a bit of damage now that they're a spinner. Regardless, I think this is going to be a great fight, and yeah, I'm going Minotaur for this fight, and I have a feeling this is going to be a banger of a leadoff fight because win or lose, free shipping is like very well known for making a fight fun, and so anyway, fight number 2, Ribot and Claw Viper. And Ribot started off the season on the wrong end with a loss to Witch Doctor in what was the very first televised fight of the season. They're up against Claw Viper, where holy crap, their first fight just absolutely stunned me. Yeah, that fight with Ominous. I'm really excited for this fight personally. Like I'd probably say this fight is one of the fights I'm most looking forward to the bunch here. Mostly because like ever since we saw Claw Viper and that speed it had compared to last season, that fight with Ominous, it made me really look forward to both their fights with Ribot and their upcoming fight with Hypershock for their fourth fight. Just because I consider Ribot and Hypershock to be two other robots where they're kind of like speedsters. They're pretty well known for speed, and I think it'd be awesome to see like a speed battle between like Ribot and Claw Viper here. As for what configuration Ribot is going with for this fight, I have no idea personally. Like I haven't heard yet as for when I'm recording this as for what Ribot's going with, but I could see them going with either configuration. My prediction for what config they go with is going to be the undercut. I'm predicting to go with the undercutter for this one, but they could go with the vertical as well. The reasons for that is they could go with the vertical because if they go head on between these two robots, Ribot probably wins a head on exchange and starts dishing out some big damage to Claw Viper. But then on the other hand, what Ribot's probably going to struggle with, and this is why I think the undercutter is what they're going to go with for this one, is they're probably going to have trouble keeping up with Claw Viper. Because Claw Viper is definitely the faster and more maneuverable robot between the two. So regarding that, basically Ribot could go with the undercutter just because like Ribot like easy seems to be easier to control according to the Ribot team when they're using the horizontal spinner. So they could try to counteract Claw Viper's speed and try to stay head on with Claw Viper. Because definitely damage is Ribot's big advantage in this one, being able to dish out damage with whatever spinner they're going with. However, like I seriously liked what Claw Viper was able to do against Ominous for that first fight because like it showed lots of speed, lots of maneuverability, was very reliable. It took some hits pretty well from Ominous. That's why I think I'm going to go Claw Viper for this one. I'm going to predict Claw Viper goes 2-0 after this one. Sorry, Pori, because I know Pori's a Ribot fan, but yeah. Regardless, like I'm predicting this is going to be another epic showdown, and I cannot wait to see this one. So, next fight, Sawblaze and Lockjaw. I was predicting either this one or Riptide and Mad Catter, which is the main event, where it's going to be the main event. And, like, yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me whichever one of these it was, because, like, Sawblaze and Lockjaw, that's a battle between Sawblaze, who's been such a huge name the past few seasons, and Lockjaw, because Donald Hudson's a legend. Then Riptide and Mad Cat are right down below, which I'll start talking about later, where both of them had like such dominant first fights. So as for Sawblaze and Lockjaw, my pick is going to be Sawblaze for this one. And that is because Lockjaw is going to need to drive this fight perfectly. Because I think if they go directly head on, even if it's like fork on fork, I bet Sawblaze wins the ground game. Because Sawblaze is one of those robots that I would call the king of the ground game. Like there are several other robots who definitely get that as well. But my point being that Sawblaze is one of the best at it. I predict Sawblaze is probably going to get under. I predict Sawblaze to get underneath Lockjaw if they go head on. So, but Donald Hudson's going to need to use some driving tactics to win this fight, whether that's bending the forks, outmaneuvering Sawblaze to get to like the side to the backside, maybe. But regardless, this is a very difficult fight for Lockjaw, in my opinion. Even Sawblaze as well, because I doubt Sawblaze is going to want to go weapon on weapon with Lockjaw, because I imagine they'll probably lose the hammer saw if that was to happen. So, regarding this fight, I think I'm going to go Sawblaze by KO on this one. But if Donald can drive this fight perfectly, or if he can create a mistake by Jameson Go, which Sawblaze has been very vulnerable to in the past, Lockjaw could easily pull this off too. It would not surprise me. Okay, next up, Huge and Blip. And this, in my opinion, is one of the hardest ones to predict of the fight card. I'd say this one and then the last two are kind of the hardest to predict for me. Like, you might be commenting right now, wondering, why is this such a hard fight to predict for someone like me? Basically, where I'm going with this, I've mentioned this quite a few times on episode reviews already. Even somebody commented on the last prediction podcast, I think it was, asking me what my prediction was going to be between Huge and Blip. So definitely Huge has a design advantage, without a doubt, and that is why I'm going Huge on this one. But the reason why I think this is so hard of a fight to predict is I have zero doubt that Blip has a configuration coming for this fight. Like it's the nature of the team. Like they're like Blip's kind of in an 0-1 hole right now after that loss to Endgame, while Huge had a strong victory over Shatter right there. Blip's gonna want to win this fight, or at least die, or at least lose in good fashion. Because like the problem is if Blip comes in the same way it did like against Endgame, I don't think there's too much they can really do to Huge. Because like they could get underneath the wheels and flip it right from there. That's probably the easiest way they flip Huge right there. Or maybe if they are tall enough, maybe they could flip from the base. I don't know, but regardless, I bet Blip has some sort of configuration they're coming with for this fight. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard anything about it as of the time I've been recording this thing. So so I don't know what to expect for this fight. That's why this one's so hard for me to predict. But I think it's a safe bet for me to predict Huge for this fight. Because like Huge did also look really good in that fight with Shatter. Like it was driving very well. The weapon was dishing out the big shots it's so well known for and more. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go Huge on this fight, but this is gonna be a close one, I suspect. All right, next one, or at least closer than what people might be expecting. So next one, Fusion and Witch Doctor. So both these robots coming off of victories. Is Fusion coming off of a win by judge's decision after surviving like a minute or something while on fire against Emulsifier. And then Witch Doctor on the other side, who had a very dominant victory over Ribot for their first fight. So yeah, Witch Doctor has already hinted at what they're looking to go with for this fight, at least after that last video, and which I don't know for sure if that's what they're going with. Is it looked like it was just like a hint or something like that. If you kind of get what I mean by that. Like I'm not confident that what I saw, which looked like a plow type configuration, is what they're going with for this fight. I'm not fully confident in that, to be very clear on that. So as for this fight, I'm going a little spicy on this one. I am going Fusion for this fight. So part of the reason why I'm going Fusion for this fight is just on the fact that Fusion's so hard to prepare for, at least. Because like what lots of robots fall into the same what lots of robots who have fallen to Fusion have fallen into the trap of is that they'll sometimes prepare for one configuration but not so well for the other one. And then when Fusion learns what config they didn't prepare so well for, they use that against them, which has happened to robots in the past, at least. Yeah. Yeah, I think what Witch Doctor, yeah, because like I'm worried Witch Doctor could possibly fall into that same trap, but I'm not too worried about that because like this is Witch Doctor, definitely like they've been in Battlebots every single season, like, but regardless, like I have heard good things about this fight, at least from people who have attended it live. I'm suspecting we're going to see a really good back and forth showdown between these two robots. I suspect we're going to see a lot of damage coming from both robots, some huge hits coming, and yeah, you kind of get the idea. So, as for this fight, I am going to predict Fusion for this one, but like, I think it's going to come down to how well can Fusion hold, because like, how well can Fusion hold up? How great will their reliability be for this fight? Because like, while they did survive that last match and was driving at the end of it, their internals were still going up in flames. So you never know. We could see another Fusion meltdown similar to what we've seen in the past. Witch Doctor has been fairly reliable as for the past couple seasons at least. We haven't seen them erupt in smoke too much like what we've seen in the past. So like that's why I'd probably say Fusion's probably the underdog in this one, but I'm predicting Fusion could come out of nowhere and manage to win this fight. I suspect a great match. Okay, next one. Double Tap and Doomba. This is one of the hardest ones to predict in the fight card for me, like one of the three hardest ones, because we haven't seen these two robots yet. These are two brand new robots. Like they're both making their Battlebots debut, or at least televised debut. I don't know if any fights happened before that, but regardless, this is the first time that people like me who see BattleBots on TV and didn't go see it live are going to see this fight like in action, see these two robots in action. So yeah, so on one hand we got Double Tap, a very interesting spinner design. Basically, if you've seen like if you've seen like Expulsion from Robot Wars, how I believe the spinner works is like the spinner will spin, and then once it gets up to a certain speed, the teeth will move outwards, and then they'll come in and hit an opponent. I think that's kind of the concepts that Double Tap has for this one. But yeah, and then on the other side we get Dumba, one of the most adorable robots in the field, in my opinion. I get it if you disagree. Like Roomba with a Smee undercutter, the chainsaw on top, and I believe they have a flamethrower as well, from what I know of. So, as for my prediction for this fight, I'm very concerned about how well armored Doomba is. So I'm gonna predict double tap for this fight. But I would love to see Dumba absolutely come out of nowhere and manage to win this fight, or win the fight similar to how like Rusty beat Sporkanock back a couple seasons ago. That would also be pretty cool to see. So, regardless, I'm really looking forward to seeing these two in action for the first time, and I hope this will be a great fight. Just knowing these two are both alternates, and hopefully we'll get to see quite a few fights out of both of them. All right, last but not least, the main event: Riptide and Mad Catter. And seeing the six fights, this was my prediction for what the main event is going to be this episode, prior to actually seeing the fight card. Because like Riptide, they had a very quick victory over a big name in Glitch, and then Mad Catter, relatively quick but a very dominant victory over Whiplash for that first fight. So these two are both coming off of very dominant victories, meaning whoever wins this fight is going to make such a huge statement for themselves. So, as for how I think this fight's going to go down, I suspect this fight's going to be pretty one sided. What I think is going to happen, just knowing both these drivers' driving style, is whoever wins that first hit is going to win this entire fight, I think. Because like I think these two are going to go in for a head on exchange, and I think whoever gets flipped or gets knocked off balance is going to lose the fight. Because both these drivers kind of have driving styles where like they'll knock you off balance and then they'll just keep hitting you time and time again, try their best not to let you get any breathing room, and keep hitting until their opponent's dead. Basically, you kind of get the idea. So yeah, as for my prediction, in heart, I want to go Mad Catter for this fight. Because, like, Mad Catter is the robot I like more between the two robots. But I kind of have to go with Riptide on this one, at least. I like the reach that Riptide's got with the Egg Beater. And looks like they also added some ground game for this season based on what we saw in the fight with Glitch. I don't know if they're going to go with that for this fight, but, like, some of those because like I do think Riptide has the reach advantage. I'm a little more confident their egg beater can do more damage than Mad Catter's weapon. But I think Mad Catter does have the better drive and the better push power. But I think those are going to be less of a factor in this fight. So stuff like that is why I think I'm going to go Riptide for this fight. I think I'm going to predict Riptide goes 2-0. But I would not be surprised if Mad Catter pulls this off. Because like I said already, I think this is going to come down to who wins that first shot between the two of them. And I think whoever wins that is going to be the winner of this fight. Regardless, this is going to be a great main event, in my opinion. And at least I'm predicting it's going to be that way. I haven't seen the fight yet. So, otherwise, if I did see the fight, I wouldn't be doing this. So, yeah, you kind of get the idea. So, I think we're in for one heck of a main event, and I think whoever wins this fight is gonna be in a great place for the postseason. So yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and review predictions for this video. All right, so here are my predictions. Let's review them. I got Minotaur, Claw Viper, Sawblaze, Huge, Fusion, Double Tap, and Riptide for this one. Almost all red square robots. So yeah, once again, several of these fights could go either way, including I suspect that configurations are expected, especially in that matchup between Huge and Blip, and probably for Witch Doctor and Lockjaw as well. I probably suspect there's going to be some configurations to help with their opponents for this fight. But regardless, I think this is going to be a great episode, and definitely should. Definitely, I bet we'll see some great fights and some statements made from quite a few robots in this fight card, regardless of win or loss. So, yeah, I think that'll do it for this podcast. So, once again, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe as usual. I'm going to try to think of some celebration because this channel is nearing 500 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. Like, I never would have suspected this channel would have gone that far, at least. And yeah, thanks for all your support, obviously. And yeah, reply down below with your predictions. As I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, I always love hearing what you all come up with and what you all think the outcome is going to be like, even if it's different from mine, because that's the fun part about this sport. Like, because like so many of these fights, like an unexpected outcome could happen, or there's just a fight that really could go either way. It's impressive. It's impressive seeing what these builders have been able to do, at least when it comes to preparing and competing in this sport, and seeing how fans think the fights are going to go. So, yeah. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.